We're thinking of it in terms of a feminine identity versus a masculine identity. But I think that's just a hinge to how we're going to think as we shift forward into our graceful identity of thinking of ourselves as beings.
There's, of course, Sharon Stone from the new documentary, Femme, Women Healing the World. A Hollywood legend is an executive producer of the film. She now joins me exclusively along with best-selling author Marianne Williamson, who appears in the film as well. Ladies, welcome to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Sharon, this is a great idea. So you took basically 100 really influential, fascinating women and you interviewed them for a documentary. What is the point of this film?
I think the point of the film is really to, first of all, to really listen. And see, just to see what are these brilliant minds thinking? What do women theologians, what do women physicists and doctors, psychologists, pornographic filmmakers, spiritualists, God, everything, engineers, we had just every kind of brilliant thinking woman in the world. We just touched women from all over the world and got their point of views about what kind of state is the world in? Why do you think it's in this state? What do you think is happening? Why do you think it's happening? What are your thoughts and feelings about everything? Just from the feminine perspective, and it was just quite a fascinating journey.
Marianne, what is the collective view about where women are in the world right now? Because I'm looking at a world now when you have Oprah Winfrey, arguably the most powerful woman in America. You have people running Sheryl Sandberg at Facebook. You have Marissa Mayer at Yahoo and so on. You have all these huge figures now running big things in America. It seems to me that the glass ceiling's been well and truly broken and we're on our way to another level.
Well, I think that there is a way in which a glass ceiling has been broken, but I think the story today is not just women getting our power. First of all, the fact that you have a few individuals who are empowered as the ones you mentioned doesn't mean that every woman has every bit of power that she is due. But even beyond that, the real story for the feminine voice today is not how can I get my power, but how do we use the power that we now have collectively gotten. That's where we are in the journey now. Okay, now that we have the financial power we have, now that we have the political power we have, how can we deal with whatever residual internal psychological and emotional obstructions keep us from truly owning the power and making the changes in the world that power does give us if we
So Sharon, would the world be a less dangerous and less warmongering place if more women ran countries?
You know what? I think that might be even a better question for you to answer as a man.
I've got a feeling it probably would be, actually. I think women by nature are not warmongers. They are by nature more peaceful than men in that sense. And it's interesting to me when you see a lot of women taking over big companies, but there aren't many world leaders that are women, still.
I think that when we look at how well Mrs. Clinton did her role and how successfully she moved nation to nation, I think we can see as we look at women in these inner relationships, country to country, how successful that can be.
Marianne, would it be different for America as this great world superpower still if Hillary Clinton became president in 2016, as she may well?
Well, when it comes to her support of women and children, her talk about economic empowerment of women, educating children, particularly girls around the world, obviously she's standing for a feminine perspective. But with Mrs. Clinton, as well as with other women, you were talking about world leaders, Mrs. Thatcher, not every woman, just because she's a woman, is an anti-corporatist or an anti-supporter of the military-industrial complex. It takes more than just a female body to really stand for feminine values.
What about the way that women and men are portrayed when they do the same thing? For example, David Beckham, right, takes his shirt off for some big commercial and everyone thinks it's fantastic. Women love it, men love it, it's all great. Someone like Miley Cyrus takes her clothes off at a big pop event in a reinvention from child star to adult teen pop star, 20-year-old pop star, and everyone goes mad, says it's completely outrageous. Is that still unfair?
Well, for me, it has a little bit of the difference between erotica and pornography. You know, you can have a beautiful picture of a female body, you know, a beautiful actress or a beautiful model, or even, you know, that could be beautiful. And then there's a place where you feel it's usurious, it's gratuitous, it's even it has an element of violence to
And
it.
was Miley into that
Well,
category?
I'm not so much expressing an opinion here as expressing what I think is a legitimate question, which is that when a woman presents herself in a way that almost, in other words, I don't think nudity cheapens a woman. I think there can be beautiful erotic imagery. But we all know there's a line where we feel there's something going on there that does cheapen us. And I don't think it's how the woman is treated, but I think a lot of times the question is, how is a woman treating herself and then standing up as a role model and in a space that other women are also witnessing?
What do you think, Sharon?
You know, I think that when we're looking at pop and rock entertainment and someone who's a pop and rock entertainer, there's a question of entertainment. And when you're an artist, I think that you can do what your artistry prevails. I think you can follow your vision of your artistry, and that is just the vision of your artistry. This is how I paint my picture, this is how I make my movie, this is how I make my sculpture. And when you are your own product, you're going to have to be willing to take the hit, whether people like your product or not. I think that when you are the singer and the dancer and your song and dance is criticized the way that she was criticized, that's particular to the fact that she is her own product. I think she has a right to demonstrate her performance art in the way that she chooses to. And I think if she chose to do it that way, that's her business.
Femme is worldwide available for streaming and downloads at www.femmethemovie.com. Thank you both very much indeed.